The concept is called the Electronic Cafe, a project of the Olympic Arts Festival. In it, video cameras, computers, and message boards are used so that people can now have that leisurely cafe-type interaction with other people miles away at other locations.
It's a unique telecommunications network and archiving system for communities and for cross-cultural communications.
It's good for the business. More people is coming over here, take a look at the cameras.
Electronic Cafe, though it has a good ring to it, I think, really came about by describing what the system is, and we designed this communication system to facilitate as many different kinds of communication as possible, and in a sense to emulate a real cafe in the sense that you can walk into a cafe and in one table people can be having a serious conversation, another table people are flirting, somebody else is just watching what's going on, somebody else is writing poetry, somebody else is drawing something.
Some people are actually eating or drinking.
Right, good point. Yeah, all those.
The control is at the Museum of Contemporary Art downtown in Little Tokyo. That's where the the control for the computer is, the video disc, and that's the first locale. Then we go east a little further to 8th Street on the corner of 8th Street and Normandy. That's the 8th Street restaurant in Koreatown.
We have one in East LA, which is in Anna Maria's, which is basically a Chicano-based place.
We go a little further west in South Central Los Angeles to the Gumbo House, which is New Orleans-style food. And then finally we have Gunter's restaurant in Venice.
First, sometimes people say, well, I just came here to eat, But while they're eating their meal, even their children will come over and use the telewriting equipment to draw to another person in another restaurant and get feedback on their thoughts or whatever. And people have come back just to come use the equipment as well as eat the good food at Anna Maria's.
This is an ordinary camera, black and white. And the camera then goes to this device on the table here, this Robot Research Slow Scan Transmitter. You push a button, it will take still pictures of it, which can be transmitted or received. Now this telewriter here is a French-made device, and it is a teleconferencing device, and he is writing with one of the other restaurants. What we have here is a computer terminal which is connected to, and all cafes have a terminal like this, that's connected to a mini computer by Plexus. And there's some software running on here called Community Memory. It's designed for being set out in public places, which allows people to put in ideas or information, to participate in conferences or topics of discussion, and if there's nothing there that they're interested in, they can open their own topics of discussion. Each of these devices have a telephone, and you push an auto dialer which lists all the other cafes, and it'll make voice contact, and you talk to a person and decide what it is that you want to do, and then you go ahead and transmit and receive. We wanted to put together a system with these graphic capabilities that would make it possible for people to have a conversation that could bridge language.
You have people that are like in East LA, they're interested in like photonovellas and different other types of cultural expressions that that community is about. The same thing in Koreatown in terms of the whole Korean way of expressing themselves. Just in terms of mentioning those two communities in particular, because from those two communities is where we've been getting the most input in terms of foreign language, you realize that just the ability to communicate on the visual plane tends to help us democratize those issues that get lost when they're put out in the didactic written form. Because if a person comes on and they start talking to us in Korean, or even if they know that we don't, which they do know that we don't speak Korean, they can talk to us in a visual context with the slow scan. So again, we're able to bridge, we're building bridges, we're bridging those boundaries that, let's say, are in the world right now that naturally keep us from being able to communicate. So people who are in the Spanish community can communicate their expressions. They do a very interesting way of doing that just in terms of the drawings that they create. And when we draw together, we get even more of an experience about what we're trying to say to each other, because that becomes a universal. I mean, everybody in every culture doodles. I can just put it on that level without trying to make it so grandiose.
What all these pictures on the walls here at MoCA represent are just, maybe 1% of the transmissions and the prints that have been made over the system. Each community came in and put up some of the transmissions and the work that they felt represented both their community and also represented the interaction and relationships that took place over Electronic Cafe. Each community had a space to work on, and however they represent themselves is how it is. So I think, I love it. I think it's a great, wild conglomeration and design of all kinds of energies and feelings, and I think each community is revealed in it.
Thank you. I will read one last poem then. In the interest of getting the business taken care of, I would be very much interested in any dialogue or discussion people would like to have over the content of the poetry. Maybe the ones I've chosen people we have difficulty responding to.
Hello, I'd like to thank you for all of it, and especially the last one. And one of the things that was most exciting for me was that when we asked for poets here in Gunter's, that you responded at Gumbo's. And that really brought it alive to me.
Orlando, I thank you too. This is Franci, also at Gunter's. People have said to me, is he going to read any of his own stuff? I know that you must be a poet.
Dealing with the unknown. I think that's one of the biggest fears that we all have, and this certainly for a lot of people has presented, and not an unknown to a certain degree, but the apprehension level that may have been, or that is, let's say, in society, about the rumors that the high-tech world is on the horizon. And when we're sitting around here, it's not on the horizon, it's here. So people come face to face with that reality, and we start from there.